Hi, Stitchers. Welcome to Tatreez Talk, where we share conversations about Palestinian embroidery. I'm Amani, here with my co-host Lena, chatting with talented embroiderers and artists, sharing their stories, inspirations, and the cultural significance behind their work.
On today's episode, we're chatting with Danielle, Communications and Marketing Officer for the Threads of Diaspora project designed by Elian, founder of 35 Roots. Welcome to Tatreez Talk, Danielle. We're thrilled to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm absolutely honored to be here and be able to talk about Tatreez and Palestine.
We love that because that's what we love chatting about. So you're in the right place.
Amazing. I found my people.
Oh, 100%. Yes. We are definitely your people. Welcome to your tribe. So Danielle, can we start? We want to tell our listeners a little bit about you, but specifically about you and your family's connection to Palestine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a little bit of a complicated background. So my dad is Jordanian Syrian, but my mom is Jordanian Palestinian. So her dad is from Ramallah, specifically Ain Arik Ramallah, which I was able to see in the mountaintops when I went to the Dead Sea a couple of weekends ago. So I felt really nice to be able to be that close, and we always hope to get closer. And then her mom was born in, inshallah, her mom was born in Jerusalem, and then was moved to the Salt right before the Nakba. And my grandfather left Palestine when he was 13 or 14, so he would have been 8 when the Nakba happened. So he had to leave right after that, and he settled in Jordan and then moved to Kuwait. So we hold our Palestinian heritage very close to our hearts because we haven't been able to go back in so many years and generations that my mom and I have always said like the moment I had a Syrian passport growing up, so we always said the moment we get our another passport, the first destination is going to be Palestine, and I tried to get as close as possible once that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So do you currently have plans for a trip? I mean, I know right now it's never necessarily like a calm time to go, but do you have plans for your first trip yet?
I had not written in like the book yet, but mainly I want to make sure the right stamp is on my passport. I don't know if I love the stamp I would get at the moment, and in our lifetime, I would love to go back and get the right stamp on my passport.
Yeah.
But that's why we haven't finalized it yet. My mom's still and she's in Jordan right now with family, and so her dad's a little sick, so we're just taking time to make sure that we're spending it with family right now. And I feel like right now family is so important. I think everyone's kind of understanding how important it is to maintain those connections, our homeland, our family, and kind of just value and appreciate them as much as we can while we have them.
100 million times, yes. Yeah, I hear you. If, I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but Lena and I are talking about possibly taking a trip while we're in the region this summer. So I've never been yet, and it would be my first time. So we'll talk later. But just
Listen,
Lena, I'm just inviting everyone. By the way, it's gonna be like 10 people deep by the time I'm done.
Yo, me and my mom, okay?
I love it. We're ready.
Oh, I hope you're not giving us ayin. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
No.
You're such a fazzle.
Knocking on wood, anyone?
Yeah, if you're listening, knock on wood right now. Otherwise, you can't listen to our podcast.
Everyone who's listening wants good vibes for us, I'm sure of it.
This is true.
Absolutely.
This is true. Okay. So can we jump into the good stuff? Let us know, how did your personal Tatreez journey start? What brought you to this beautiful art of ours?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, it was my mom. She's my biggest influence in life and pretty much everything that I do. We moved to, I know, I love her. I'm so proud to call her my mom. And I hope that I like make her proud enough to be proud to call me her daughter.
I'm sure.
But so we moved to Canada in end of 2019, beginning 2020, right before COVID started. When my mom moved from, we lived in Dubai and then she was staying in Jordan for a little bit. So back with her, like a giant piece of Aida cloth. And when COVID hit and it got cold in Canada, she was like, I don't know what to do. You can't go out. There's nothing to happen. And so she started stitching. She started
Mm.
doing Tatreez. Started in the middle, in the bottom corner, and then just freehanded the design all the way through, trying to
Wow.
accumulate as
I
many
remember seeing
patterns.
this picture. Yes, we'll have to link the picture in the
Yeah,
show notes because I know exactly
Yeah.
the piece you're talking about.
absolutely. Yeah. And so she just started freehanding it, and then halfway through her dad goes, "Okay, like you have to add the map of Palestine." And she's like, "Oh, but Bubba, like it's supposed to be like our patterns." Like, and he's like, "No." And so she's a daddy's girl, so she obliged and added the map of Palestine in the space that she had left. And as she's working on that, her mom was like, "Well, what about Jordan?" And so she added the map of Jordan, and it became kind of like a timeline of how that year was going, because it talks
Mm,
about, it has like the COVID sign, like she has a little logo for
Mm.
COVID. She has our family names in it when we moved to Canada. Um, the Beirut explosion happened that same year.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
there's
mm,
like من قلبي إلى بيروت. It's like the quote from Fairuz along with
mm-hmm.
Mm.
like the flag of Lebanon. So it became like a timeline, like she was documenting our family history of the year on
Yeah.
this piece.
Yeah.
The main thing was she was very distracted with it. Like we were trying to get her, we're like, okay, like what do you want to eat today? And she's like,
Busy.
and we're like, okay, I'm what? What do you want? But it just seeing her passion for Tatreez and the way that like honestly it came out of nowhere, because she did Tatreez with her mom when she was younger, and then reconnected with it as like
Yeah.
a full grown adult. And being able to start my Tatreez journey at the age that I am is like such a blessing. I think like I saw the colors, I saw the organization part of it was like so appealing to me. And so she started designing pieces for the Threads of Diaspora project. I grabbed one and I got started, and I honestly I couldn't put the needle back down after that. It was just like really being able to connect to my roots again for the first time, where like it was something tangible.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That was like really amazing for me because I could feel my connection.
Mm-hmm.
So
It just
was it
comes
during?
naturally when you pick it up. Sorry, Lena.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. No, I was just gonna ask, like, was it during COVID that you literally first started doing Tatreez for the first time?
Yeah, so 2020, yeah, would have been when we started. And we've spent the last almost like 3, 4 years just basically trying to spread Tatreez to as many people as possible. We live in Edmonton, Alberta, here in Canada. So we started locally teaching classes in collaboration with an organization here. And people were doing like a very simple pattern that my mom had designed, and they finished that one. They're like, okay, so what's
What's next?
next?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the pattern just got more and more complex, more they gained more meaning. And then we were like, okay, these pieces now, what are we gonna do with them? And so we have a beautiful, an amazing lady on our team. Her name is Khulud, and she sews all of the pieces together. So she's the reason
Mm.
why the Threads of Diaspora project is as big as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the starting on a 45 by 45 stitch like piece. That's how I got started. And then I was like, this is really nice. My eyes hurt a little bit. Can we get a bigger fabric? And we started doing more research on like the different sizes of the Aida cloth and how to make it match with the thread. And like honestly, the bigger the piece, like for me, it was just like beautiful. I'm like, people can see it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I got started. I started designing my own patterns, making them mean something to me. Um, yeah, but my mom started designing for other people, so I started watching over her shoulder, being like, so amazing. And so
Mm.
downloaded the app to kind of start designing, and just started with her. And now we sit together and drink tea and create designs, and I'll stitch while she's still designing. And so it's become like a connection to my homeland, and like a reconnector to my mom. Like we've gotten
Yeah.
so close working on this project. So it's a blessing in so many ways.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. I love this like Tatreez mother-daughter connection.
Mm.
I'm a little envious, but like in a good way. I'm not giving you a hand. I'm not giving you a hand.
That is the theme of this episode, Ain.
Right. Okay, wait. I want to ask. So you said you started like designing. Obviously, you got the bug. Like you picked up the needle and thread. You started stitching. Your ancestors were working through you. It came naturally. You loved it. We understand. Like we're right there with you, babe. So for you, I want to understand when you started designing stuff, what inspired you? Because it sounds like there's some storytelling there, but you have your own way of designing to tell your story. So I want to get into that a little bit.
So my mom is like a queen of hidden messages. So I think we started working off of that, and it was, how do we make like a traditional design like speak to the people who are reading it? And so we started in court like my I want to say my first language. I mean, my main language that I speak is English. So I
Hmm.
wanted to incorporate like the English language into our pieces. So we started putting quotes, started putting like making more like the colors mean more to people who are like just discovering Tatreez. Because I
Mm.
feel like when you look at old Tatreez, or when I like the Tatreez that we had at home, like my grandmother's, it's
Hmm.
very like red, black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as much as we love the red and the black, like my mom, as you can see, it's like my house is like the house I've lived in have always been full of color. So having a piece that was just red and black didn't make sense to us. So we
Hmm.
started experimenting with like variegated thread and the different colors, and how do
Hmm.
we like like each color has like a meaning, has a like
Hmm.
there's reasons why we use it in anything. So we started doing that in our little piece, in our Tatreez designs and everything. And so we really enjoyed being able to blend tradition with color. Um, and now we see it more and more. You're seeing a lot more people who are joining the Tatreez universe, and they're incorporating color, because like color, it's happy, like there's it's bright, like it's like
Hmm.
good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I co-sign that. I'm also like no shade. I do love like I admire like old Tatriz pieces, but I'm not a red and black girly. Like it's just not me. I am also a very colorful, vibrant color person. So
Hence
I
the
love that. And it's
hair.
very eye-catching. I know, hence the pink hair. I clearly like a little color in my life.
We
Um,
love color.
yeah. So, can I also ask you, like, in that, like, realm of color, you said, every color has a meaning. So, what are the most powerful ones to you? What are the colors that speak to you the most, both from like a visual perspective and from a storytelling perspective?
Absolutely. I mean, we obviously have to pay homage to the flag, and so we use a lot of the red, black, green, and white.
Hmm.
But like the green itself, like it comes in so many different shades. And personally, like mine is like the olive green. I just think that
Yes,
like
yes.
it's like it's green for the flag, it's green for the olives. It's like
Hmm.
it's just it's the earth. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so it's so connecting. Otherwise, we love experimenting with like combining colors. So you'll see like a lot of like pinks and yellows,
Hmm.
because they just work so well off of each other. And pink is not a very common color to be using in Tatreez. Like usually we do red and white, and so
Hmm.
like having that pink and yellow kind of brings it into like a more, like Barbie, like everything's pink. We love pink. Like
We do.
so like exactly. So you'll see a lot of, I feel like the piece that I did, my first Tatreez Tatreez piece was pink and brown, which also is a beautiful like connector because like brown, it's like again like the earth, the trees, it's like it speaks big, and then pink is bright and in your face, and I think it's amazing. And then you'll see a lot of, I mean, you'll see it all. You'll see all the colors, but like blue reminds us of the sky and the waters that we're not allowed to like use back home. Like we're not like those waters are, we have to get permits to use the water. We can't collect rainwater because it belongs to someone else. So all of these things, like we think about all the we're making our designs and picking the colors. So yeah. So the more colors, the better, honestly.
Okay, so I have a couple of follow-up questions, and they're easy questions. So the first one is, because I have a feeling we're going to get some questions from our listeners. What tool do you guys use to design? And my second question is, you mentioned hidden messages. So do you guys document the stories or like the meanings that you intended through your designs in a different way? That's like let's say someone purchases one of your designs online, one of the patterns. Like, do you have it included as part of the package that, you know, this design is meant to portray XYZ, it's telling this story? I'm just really curious about how you document those stories outside of the actual Tatreez itself.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, so my mom is like for at least the patterns for Threads of Diaspora, she's pumping those out like 20 a day. So you'll see a lot of the repeating symbols and like main like patterns. And then they're just they're either made smaller or larger, and they're incorporated in different ways. You'll see different colors used for them. I wonder if she has them. So we sell the designs through her Etsy, so Deco Elian. And I'm sure if I asked her to sit down and kind of talk about a couple of them, we could. It's a good idea to add them into the the design packet. But she gets overwhelmed writing, so I'm low key my mom's assistant. So we will have to start doing that. Exactly. But the app is called, so on Windows it's WinStitch, and on Mac it's MacStitch. So that's the one that we use. She downloaded it before the update, and I think that it was easier before the update.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I struggle with that one, but that's the program that I feel like is like the most comprehensive as of now.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one that we use. So we're not gatekeeping.
So we also talk a lot. We also talk a lot about Threads of Diaspora. We haven't actually formally introduced it on the episode. Do you mind just describing what it is and like how can people participate, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. So Threads of Diaspora is it started as an Edmonton community-based project. When we posted it on our Instagram, we gained a lot of people really wanted to participate internationally. So it's basically a 45 by 45 stitch design or pattern that you receive that my mom makes. If you live in Edmonton, Alberta, we actually provide you with the fabric, the thread, and the needle. Nice. And we host classes on Saturdays to teach you how to cross stitch, how to Tatreez. And then for our international participants, they will get a digital version of the pattern, and then we can link them to resources online on how to get started. But it is very hands-off for our international community. They're responsible to get the fabric, the thread, the needle, and then they're responsible to send it back to us. So behind me, I have a whole bunch of packages that I opened yesterday. I have more that I'm opening tomorrow, and I have probably 400 pieces behind me that are waiting.
Oh my God!
Wow. That are waiting.
More questions now.
Yeah.
So
whoa,
it is.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an international project at this moment. It's become a movement on its own. It's like a stitch to resist type of thing.
Absolutely.
So we're very excited. We have groups that joined from Puerto Rico, South Africa, Australia, the UK, Qatar, Lebanon, so many groups have joined, and they are hosting their own Tatreez hour and Tatreez sessions to teach and talk about the cause and talk about Tatreez and why it's important to preserve it. So we feel very, very blessed to be able to be a small part of this. I get to read everyone's like reasons and stories for joining the project, and like some of them will bring you to tears, and we always like we'll share on our Instagram accounts, the Threads of Diaspora. We'll share the stories of our participants, so you'll see like some of them are like they're Palestinians and they're living abroad. They talk about like what it means to them to not be able to go back or not be able to like reach the people that they have that are still in Palestine right now. We have people who are joining who have absolutely no relation to Palestine, but the fact that they're human beings and they know that they know that what's happening needs to like change. They know the importance of preserving art for culture, not just Palestine. They know preserving art for culture, period, is important.
Yes.
And then preserving Tatreez for Palestine is also very important. So I get to hear from professionals who are like working like a 9 to 5 who they can't talk about Palestine when they're at work, and they use that time at home to reconnect with their roots. And so they're using Tatreez as a tangible way to reconnect with their roots and show their support. And I like to call it a silent protest, but it speaks volumes once you see it. So that's what Threads of Diaspora is for me and for a lot of people.
Oh, okay. I have a bajillion questions. And
Please.
the wheels are turning. First of all, I need to know, what is the end goal? And I'm sure it's probably changed because it seems like there's a lot of people wanting to participate. So that's my first question.
Yes. So we're currently in the process of building phase 5. So phase 1 was a whole bunch of patterns that were in just the flag, the colors of the flag. So you had red, green, black, and red, green, white. What am I forgetting?
Yes. We were there with you. It's fine. We were there with you.
And it was you had the map in the middle. You have Handala, who speaks to the kids of Palestine that will always remain kids because they never got the chance to grow up. You get the word Palestine in both Arabic and English because it's international at this point. Like we have so many cultures that live in Palestine, not just Palestinians. And not just Arabs either, you know? And then, so that one was around 600 pieces that were connected together. Yeah, and that was just phase
amazing.
1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And between you and your mom, so between you and your mom, you designed every single one of those 600 patterns?
So I don't want to take credit for phase 1, or I only started joining the design process in phase 3, but phase 1, 2, and most of 3 is all my mom's patterns.
Whoa, 600
Mashallah.
patterns? She just cranks
Yes.
them
Your
out.
mom's a beast.
Wow.
She is.
No, she was cranking them out. Like you're talking about,
She's
like
dope.
she'll design like 200 in a month. Like
Oh
That's
my God.
that is
insane.
wild.
The amount
don't,
of
like-
creativity you have to just crank out that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the props to my mom. She's like the designer behind the project. Like there's no other way to put it, basically. And then phase 2 was a border around phase 1, which I think they thought they were done, but it just kept growing. And so phase 2 was the names of a lot of the cities and villages that are either still there, that people have changed their names, that have been like put onto ground zero. Like it's all of these like stories in the names of our country, of our tradition, that we're trying to keep alive. And so that's what phase 2 was. Phase 3, and that one was also in the same color, so green, red, white, and black.
Also 600?
And no, fortunately it was not another 600. It was 200, I want to say.
Oh my God.
Just 200.
Yeah.
It went around them, basically. And then phase 3 started incorporating the colors of the world. So we started incorporating like the rainbow colors of the rainbow. We started incorporating patterns and like motifs from other cultures as well,
That's cool.
to talk about how Palestinians are in diaspora. They're not just we're
Yes.
not just
Yeah.
Palestinian anymore. Like
Yeah.
I'm Jordanian, Syrian, Palestinian. Like we have people who are joining who are like Chilean Palestinian. We have people who are joining who are like British Palestinian. And so we wanted to make sure that we were representing the people who are now taking part in this project. By phase three, we weren't international yet. Like all of the people that were making the
What?
pieces were in Edmonton.
That's
Whoa.
wild.
So
So
you're
Wild.
it
talking
wasn't
about
just Palestinians then. It was
no, it was not.
stitchers,
It was stitchers
Palestinians and
in it, like
allies. Wow.
yes, exactly. And so we got it was yeah, the like the outpour of support that came in from the project and the community here was amazing. The Edmonton Community Foundation is the reason why we have all of our supplies. So we got a grant, and so we used up those supplies to get that money to get our supplies, and we're able to provide people with the fabric and the thread at no cost to them, and they love it and we love it because they get to join and participate without causing like a financial burden on them. And they're posting it, they're sharing their story, they're sharing their participation with their friends and family. And that's what is our main goal. It's getting Palestine, getting Tatreez out there as much as possible to try and preserve it. So
Okay.
phase four, yeah.
So, okay, now
Phase
you're
four
in phase
kept that.
4.
So phase four, we're in the process of getting those pieces back now.
Okay.
So I open mail, and the majority of them are from phase four. Like here,
Okay.
I'll grab like each one of these bags has 21 patterns in it, and they
Oh
go
my
all the way
God.
from A to U.
Uh-huh.
And then we have people who are designing their own. So in phase four, I opened it up to Tatreez artists or cross stitch artists to create their own patterns. So we saw, I'm gonna pull some from behind me, but we got to see stuff like this.
Oh,
Beautiful.
cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It
That
says
my mom,
Palestine, but it's very,
yeah,
we'll
that my
show
mom
pictures.
may not. Yeah, I'll send you pictures. So we got like this one was made by a
Oh,
French Tatreez
gorgeous.
artist in Paris, and it's an ode to one of her students that she actually lost after October 7th.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh my
Wow, wow,
gosh.
So
wow.
each one
Okay.
of these is so beautiful. Like our Puerto Rico group made this
Oh,
one,
love
Ah,
it.
so
right?
good.
And so
Yeah.
these are not patterns that my mom would have made because it's
Yeah.
not her connection to it. So
Yeah.
being able to have and so like all of these are
Oh my
like
gosh.
custom creations from people. So these
Yeah.
are
This
ones that
is
people have.
amazing. We 100% we want to participate. No
Oh
questions
yeah,
asked. Like
absolutely.
we will talk more about this afterwards. I
Oh yeah.
also feel like I don't know if you've already connected with Omar, but he is our Chilean Palestinian brother, and I feel like we need to get some Chilean Palestinian representation. We need to get some Palestinian Brazilians in there. We gotta okay.
Yes.
We're gonna. I have so many
We're all
ideas.
over
Sorry,
the
I'm getting
place.
very
We
excited.
are all over the place. So being able
This
to
is so
see like I have
cool,
people who are like in Singapore who are Palestinian. I'm like, what took you out there? What brought you
right?
out there?
They gave
Like
them a
how did
visa. That's what took them there.
I you
You
know
give us
what?
a
And I
visa, and we
don't
will go.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Okay,
Do
can
your
we
thing
just
because
wait?
I'm just
Can we pause though? Because I'm still like, we need to go back to phase three.
I
Because
know.
when
We're
you
like, I'm like so excited. Sorry. I'm like,
because I'm just trying to understand what, like, did your mom's head explode when you guys opened it to more colors than the Palestinian flag? Because if she created
I think she
800
was waiting
designs,
for it.
oh my God.
I
So,
think she was
okay,
waiting for it.
we need the numbers. Okay, so phase one was 600, phase two was 200, phase
Oof.
three.
I want to say like another 600 because I think she does it. I think she does it where she goes like from A to U. And
uh-huh.
someone can correct me on my math, but there's 21 pieces, patterns per. Maybe it's not 600. Maybe it's 400. It's a lot of patterns at this point, though. And
We'll
like
do the
you
math.
Yeah.
can't, yeah,
Oh
We'll
my
you'll
do
do
the
math.
math.
goodness.
So it's like from A to U, there's 21 per letter. Yeah. So every 5 letters is a
Okay,
line.
wait, I'm really curious about this system. How did she come up with the A to U 21 per letter? Or it's just,
Um,
that's so
I don't
fascinating.
know. I'm not entirely certain. I just followed suit. I just went along with it.
I love it.
Follow-up
It's like a super
question.
category.
Yeah.
She must have like some sort of like structure. Like I bet you every
Yeah.
letter
Oh, we have
represents
Excel
something.
sheets. It's Excel
Yeah.
sheets galore.
Oh
Oh,
my
so that's
God,
Fully
probably
that's so
Excel sheets,
cool.
why.
and we know exactly who got which pattern. So when we send it out
Love
or
this
when we
level
give
of
it out,
organization.
yes. Oh my God, we try really hard. The OCD runs deep.
Love
Um,
it. That's that generational trauma, baby. Same, same.
But yeah,
So
so
good.
we try really hard to keep track of who takes which patterns. First of all, to make sure that we get their stories, but
Yeah.
also to make sure that it gets done and added back to
Yeah.
the lineup in time to get it sewn together. So
Hmm.
because this piece is constantly on display at the Canada Palestine Cultural Association House here in Edmonton, Alberta. But
Okay.
it's almost too big for that house right now.
Really?
So we're
Okay, yeah,
we're
so
so
where is it at now, the size?
yeah, so it's at at the Canada Palestine Cultural Association House here in Edmonton, but the goal is to get it on display places. So right now we're doing a mini exhibit with Latitude 53 here in Edmonton. So it's a nice gallery. It's been running for 30 plus years, and the show that they have going on right now is either Palestinian artists or people or artists supporting Palestine, and they're also talking about conflict in their own homes in their own countries. So it is very much centered around that, like, art for resistance, art as a form of like protest, or yeah, protest basically. So we're not showing the big piece at the moment at the gallery. It needs some TLC, some
Hmm.
nice time, love, and care, just to make sure that the way that we're hanging it up isn't going to ruin the stitching, the
Yeah.
sewing that went into it. And we want to make sure that we're preserving this piece for as long as possible, because we don't own it. We are simply the caretakers of this piece, because it's
Hmm.
at this point, like, everyone has a little piece of this
Yeah.
project, like, that
Yeah.
belongs to them, and so we're just the caretakers. We try to make sure that it stays in one piece for as long as possible, but the goal is for it to be a piece, an ambassador piece of unity that goes around the world, showing off like Tatreez heritage, the culture, the resistance, the allyship, and like everything
Yes.
that went along with it, basically.
So, so good. Okay, so really quickly, so our listeners know, and then we'll put in the show notes, of course. So, if someone wants to get involved in this project, one, are you still accepting pieces? And two, how can they join if you are?
Absolutely. So we are. So at the moment, while we prep for phase 5 and make sure that all the pieces from phases 3 and phase 4 are back, we're only open to custom submissions from artists or people who want to create their own pattern for the project. The only requirement is that it stays within that 45 by 45 stitch, and it has a border around it to match kind of the other ones. But you can do that by getting into contact with us on Threads of Diaspora and on Instagram. Just one word, Threads of Diaspora. There's a link in our bio if you want to create your own pattern. Otherwise, feel free to reach out on via DM. You will get me immediately. So feel free to say, "Hey, Danielle, how you doing?" But yeah, I'll be the person who's responding behind that keyboard, and so we're always open. We get people who to message us at least on a daily basis, trying to reach out and be a part of it. So for those who want a pre-made pattern, we just need a little bit more patience, just while we make sure that everything is staying nice and organized, for the future of the project. And
And
phase
yeah,
five is going to get a little bit more it's going to get a little
no,
bit
go
more
ahead.
complicated, where we have the 45 by 45, and then we're doing like 45 by 90. So
Ooh,
double,
Ooh.
and then we're doing 90 by 90. So they get a
Ooh.
little bit more
Okay.
complicated. So it is still open to beginners, but you might need to do a little bit of research,
very
which is
cool.
good.
No, that's awesome. And I just wanted to add on, like, just as inspiration as well for our listeners. I know that a few people have started coordinating Tatreez circles in their local spaces where they come together to basically create the designs and stitch their own contributions for the Threads of Diaspora project. So just in case you're looking for a specific reason to come together for Tatreez, if you need one. I don't think you need one, but just in case, like some sort of like goal that you can work on together with your community, build community as well. Like that's also something that I've seen happen, and I think that works really nicely. Hopefully, Danielle, that makes your life easier if you get like a bulk package of custom designs.
Absolutely. So we got one, our biggest one to date had 25, 26 patterns in it. And that one's the one that came from Puerto Rico. And then, so we have one that's coming in from the UK. It should be on its way. And that one has another 21 pieces in it. So we love being able to work with groups who are either already like doing Tatreez or who want to get started. But yeah, the more the merrier. As long as our hands were willing to stitch, we are going to keep this project going.
So
yes,
beautiful.
this is so cool. And okay, if somebody happens to be listening and they work at a museum or a gallery and they want to feature this
Let me know.
beautiful piece, so they could also reach out.
Absolutely.
Out
We
to
would
you
love
directly.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so you can either message us straight on the Threads of Diaspora Instagram. You can message Deco Elian, who's the designer, same thing on Instagram, or Danielle Jabbor on Instagram. All of those are welcome to be reached out to. In the most cases, you're gonna get me anyways.
Cool. This is just such an amazing project, and I'm very excited. Like I'm a little too excited now, but I have a lot of ideas, and definitely I know Lena and I would love to participate. I'm like speaking for Lena, but I know we're on the same page, really.
She knows.
I know, I already know. I already know.
You have
but
my permission.
Right. This is such a cool, and I love. Okay, can I actually ask you one other thing too? All the countries, you mentioned a few of the different countries that you've gotten so far, but can you name some of the different places that you've received stitches from?
Yeah. So Puerto Rico. We have obviously the States and Canada. We have South Africa, Lebanon, the UK, Belgium, France, Singapore, Middle East, so Lebanon, Jordan, Doha, Qatar, the UAE. The list is absolutely endless, the number of countries we've had join, and we've had people who where else?
Australia, I thought you mentioned before.
Yeah, Australia as well. Yeah,
Chile.
oh my God. I could probably check. I don't know if my camera cuts off when I do that.
Well, I asked because like I also think like
Kuwait.
with all these countries participating, all these different people, both Palestinian and non-Palestinian participating, I just think it also just speaks to the global Tatreez community, and like wherever you are, if you want to connect through Tatreez, there are people there. So I think it's a really cool representation too. I mean, you guys literally are calling it Threads of Diaspora. So clearly you thought about it with the name, but I do think it's a very cool visual representation of the global diaspora, which is just really, really cool. And so before we say goodbye to you today, one last question. I know we're going to have you back to like no questions asked. But one last question we have for you. Are there any major life lessons that you have learned from Tatreez?
Absolutely. I think that the main one is really to take it stitch by stitch. And that's like in life, like you take it day by day. Sometimes you have to take it like minute by minute when it gets really overwhelming. So it's like really important to take a step back and just like give yourself like some grace, give yourself some patience, because like you're not. I'm really hard on myself when I can't get something perfectly done on the first try, and that's just not how things work. You have to practice at things, and you have to give yourself some time to learn how to do things. And also, I think that like Tatreez has taught me that like there's so many ways to get something done, and it can still be beautiful. I'll get pieces where like I turn it and I'm actually looking at the back, and I think that I'm looking at the front because of how beautiful it is. But
Wow.
sometimes you get it and it's a little bit messy in the back, and you're like, this person really tried. Like this person
Yeah.
like like they put their soul and heart into this
Oh,
project, and that's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Oh,
So
that's so sweet.
things don't have to be perfect to be
Yeah.
perfect. But they are like every single piece is perfect. So I think
oh, I
I
love
think those are the
that.
two
I
things.
love
Yeah.
that. Things don't need
That's
to be perfect
beautiful.
to be perfect. I love that line.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need
that's
that reminder.
All the time.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned most of the places that people can find you, but go ahead and give our listeners one more time the different Instagram accounts, and also because I think your mom, correct me if I'm wrong, but she sells her patterns too. So people want to create one of her incredible, very ambitious, heads up, but super
Yeah, they are
incredible,
very
incredible
yeah.
patterns. Yeah. So let us know all the places. So at like patterns,
Yeah.
threads of diaspora, etc.
So the main places you can reach us are going to be on Instagram, so Threads of Diaspora or Deco Elian. You can reach out to me if you want, Danielle Jabbor. Um, Otherwise, if you're looking to start a project that's already made just for yourself, Etsy Deco Elian is going to be your best bet. She does custom orders as well. She'll create a piece to tell the story of your family and your heritage and the way that you
Oh.
want it to be, which is amazing. Otherwise, we have I create a more modern, so I create like lanyards and keychains and stuff like that through 35 Roots. So that one's also available on Instagram. We also have Society 6 and Redbubble. So those are two other like websites you can go to. And then if you look up Deco Eliane, you'll find all of her prints available, all of her designs available either as a print or as a fanny pack, as a shirt. You can kind of customize her designs to fit whatever. They have a whole bunch of different items that you can get with like a printed Tatreez design, which is really amazing. So those are going to be the best ways to kind of connect with us.
Okay, also one last question, sorry. Can we get your
Yeah,
mom on the show? Can we bring her on here?
please,
Yes.
yes. So
I want
she
to hear
she
all
will
about the design process.
I know how she
absolutely,
dove so far in. I love
absolutely.
it.
She gets back from Jordan in mid-March, mid-late March. But I'm happy to arrange that and get her on the
Listeners, stay
show to talk a
tuned.
little bit. Yes,
Yes.
stay tuned. Part two.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I love it. Already
Yeah,
part two.
absolutely. Yeah. So no, she's a little shy, but we'll get her there. We'll get her there.
It's all good. I'll
Once you
loosen her
have
up.
yeah, Amanda was gonna say, you even beat me to it. She'll loosen her up. Yeah.
I got it. Don't
Amazing.
worry.
Love it, love it.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much for being here today. This was such a fun conversation, and I think we're both very inspired after this talk, and I'm sure the listeners are going to be very inspired after listening. So, definitely check your inbox. People are going to be messaging you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was honestly such a blessing. Anytime I get to do anything that pushes, that like strengthens the Palestinian narrative and Tatreez and brings it to light is always such a blessing for me. So I'm always honored to be here.
We appreciate you and all the work you do, Habibti. Thank you so much, and we will definitely talk to you soon.
Yay! Have a good one.
Okay, I had to calm down. I got a little too excited. I just think it's such a cool project. Like this
It
is
is. It
like
is.
y'all. I'm trying really hard not to curse on the podcast, so I won't. But like Danielle and her mom are such like
Insert words.
bad. Yeah, like they're dope. Like I'm so fascinated by the amount of creativity that they both have to be building out these designs. And it's just, how everywhere from every part of the world they have people contributing. Like what a powerful visual representation of the Palestinian diaspora and our allies too. It's just really cool.
I mean, okay, because I think about how long it takes me to create one design. It takes me like sometimes months to do a design. Granted, some of my designs are kind of big, but honestly, her mom's designs are huge. They're massive. So like,
Yeah.
It's so much. I don't know. For me, it does not come as naturally, but like, mashallah, because wow, 20 a day is unreal. That's an unreal rate of designs.
Yeah, I know. I'm like that kind of person. It's so funny. Like there will be times where like the way I design is like I have a Tatreez like sketchbook where I'll like sketch out like smaller little motifs or like little patterns that I see in my head and that I just like want to save. And then when I'm ready to like design, like I use my computer and I have like a software, and there'll be times where I can bust out. I'm just like in this creative like mood, and I can bust out like maybe like 2 or 3 patterns. Definitely
good.
not
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
But then there's times where like it'll literally like I have 2 patterns that I'm trying to finish for new kits, and I'm finished with both of the designs. It's just the colors that I'm finalizing, and it's been taking me months to like just do it. So yeah, I went off to a tangent, but it's just I'm fascinated by that.
No, we need to bring on her mom, like for sure, to talk about her design process, because my design process is a bit different. Like I will not design until I get inspired, and that maybe happens once a year, once every 6 months. Like I don't really know when it's going to hit me, but it'll hit me at some point, and then I have to have like the vision in my head, and then I'll go at it, and it's just a matter of like the technicalities. But if I don't have any vision, I cannot do the design. So I just okay. And can we also talk about how like it's a mother-daughter duo doing this
so cute.
incredibly beautiful project?
Cute. Well, and I love that it like brought them like it strengthened their existing relationship, because this is like the thing that they do together, and it's like become such a big part of their everyday life. It's just so cool. I love it.
I know. And the other thing that I love, because I'm also kind of hyper on this, is how like they embrace our quote unquote differences. Like she literally talked about how people are like incorporating where they're coming from, like where they're living, because that is the nature of being a Palestinian in the diaspora. Like you're going to undoubtedly have influences from these other countries that you live in and these other experiences. And like, you know, as someone who's half Panamanian, like that was really important for me when I was designing my thobe. It's like, my mom is a huge part of, obviously is a huge part of my life. Like how could I not incorporate that, even though it's like meant to be a Palestinian thobe? And I think that is just like that embracing of your individuality and of your experiences. Like it also speaks to this idea that there's no such thing as like being Palestinian. Like there's no like Palestinian definition. It's like if you are Palestinian, khalas, like that's it. Like you're Palestinian regardless of the experiences, the exposure, the changes in like life. That is just like a natural byproduct of being Palestinian in this world, in this day and age.
I think it was a previous episode we did with Omar. I believe it was with Omar, where he mentioned how now the story of Palestinians in the diaspora, that is the Palestinian story as well. So, you know, with us scattered all over, that has become a part of Palestinian culture and Palestinian identity. You know, I think sometimes people joke about like a very distinct Palestinian American culture and identity. And like all jokes aside, like it's kind of true. You know, so it's just, it's really, I think it's just interesting. And we are so multifaceted. And I think this project is so cool to incorporate every aspect of who we are, both our traditional identity and our current modern identity. So it's very cool. 100%. Can't wait to see the finished project. I don't even is it going to be finished ever? I don't even think it's ever going to be finished.
I don't think so. That's so cool. Okay. Well, I mean, you guys stay tuned, because Amani and I will be discussing potential collaborations with Threads of Diaspora in a very tangible way aside from this episode. So we will bring you guys along with us in case you want to participate in a similar way. But please, 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 like find them on Threads of Diaspora on Instagram. Contribute your own piece, like create a circle to create pieces that you guys can send over to them. This is such a cool, beautiful, like just incredible project to be a part of. And we hope you'll join us as well. Okay, well, Amani and I are going to try to calm down some more.
I I gotta get this like energy. I gotta go stitch.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But thank you all for listening to another episode of Tatreez Talk. We want to hear about your Tatreez journey, so please share your stories with us at tatreeztalk@gmail.com, and we might have you on an upcoming episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening platform, and be sure to leave a 5-star review. You can follow me at Lina Stob and Amani at Min Amani, and of course, make sure you follow the pod at Tatreez Talk. Until next time, Stitchers.